Hey Gators and sports fans, get all your Gator talk, news, analysis, and opinions on the Pod Up with Matthews in the Morning podcast. Find us on your favorite podcast platform or watch us on Facebook Live between 8 a.m. and 9 a.m. every weekday. Pod Up, because we are Gator fans. So say it's great to be a Florida Gator.
Good morning and welcome to a Monday edition of Pod Up with Matthews in the Morning from the Crime Prevention Security System Studios. Large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Got a lot to talk about today. We're joined by JC on the Titan More Hotline. If you missed it this weekend, Saturday night, Gators lose at Auburn. Play really, really hard and played a lot better than I thought they were going to play, honestly. Auburn is a Final Four type team. We were fortunate that Jabari Smith, probably who's going to be the first pick of the draft, got into some foul trouble, so we didn't have to see him a whole lot. But the Auburn Tigers are the real deal. We get the LSU Tigers, who are just as much the real deal, come to the O'Connell Center Wednesday night. Lady Gators, big win at Texas A&M. They come from 19 down in the third quarter. First win for the Gators ever in College Station. So that's kind of your news and notes there. And yesterday, JC, good morning. How are you?
Yeah. Hey, QB. Good morning. Happy Monday, everybody. Happy January the 10th. Happy National Championship Day. Happy, 2022 as we get going. I'm doing just fine. Yesterday had to be probably one of the most incredible NFL football days I think I've ever seen in my life. And if this is what they wanted for the league with an extra game, then they certainly got everything they bargained for, because I don't know if I've seen games. I mean, just the intensity that the San Francisco 49ers played with, that the Pittsburgh Steelers and Baltimore Ravens played with, that the Raiders and the Chargers played with yesterday, that even the Jacksonville Jaguars played with yesterday, just shows you how professional athletes do care. I mean, it was just some of the best theater and some of the best football I think I've seen all season long, and it all happened yesterday because teams needed certain things to happen. And man, what a weekend! And Florida. You just mentioned the basketball QB. The way they played against Auburn, I got to tip my hat to them. They didn't lay down. They didn't go away. They didn't fade. They played as hard as they could. They played I think, a great game against, like you said, one of the best teams in the country. So I think we really got our money's worth this weekend on the sports side of things, because yesterday and this weekend had some incredible stuff. I mean, the games yesterday in the NFL, it may have been some of the best stuff I've seen out of that product in years. It really was that good to me anyway.
No, it was. I'm not a huge NFL guy, but boy, it was very intriguing. And as you mentioned, guys played extremely hard yesterday. Before we talk a little bit more NFL, if you missed it, if you were under a rock, the Gators get a huge commitment from Trevor Etienne. Travis Etienne's little brother out of Louisiana, running back 4-star. He is coming to the Gators as well. Also, I don't know if you watched any golf, but Cameron Smith, the Australian version of Morgan Wallen. You don't even know who that is, JC, but
he's a singer. I think he's a singer, isn't he?
He is a country music, probably one of the top artists out there, but he's got the same haircut as Morgan Wallen. It's great. But he beat the world's number one John Rahm by one shot. Boy, can he play! And that's the easiest golf course they play all year. It's a pretty golf course, but it's way too easy for those folks.
I looked at that, minus 34, minus 33, minus 32. It just makes me feel like they're not even trying to make this difficult for these guys. I mean, it was almost embarrassing. Come on, 34 under. Who can watch that? I mean, why would you want to? I know it's golf and all, but it was like they were playing a pitch and putt yesterday, QB.
Yeah, it was way too easy. But it's always the easiest golf course they play every year. We got a couple Facebook Lives here brought to you by Meldon Law, the only official law firm partner of the Florida Gators. Joseph says, this is great. What about my boy Deebo Samuel? He reminds me of old Booby Miles. He can run it, he can catch it, he can walk your dog and paint your back porch, and he can pass. Speaking of that, you got to tip your hat San Francisco 49ers.
I do.
JC, I know it was hard on you yesterday. Your Rams are up 17-0. And boy, I don't know if I've ever seen a turnaround in a game that important. And it's not like the 49ers said, you know what, we're down 17, we're going to throw it 75 times and get back in this game. They basically said at halftime, buckle your chin straps. We're going to run tall sweep and off tackle and run it down your throats. And that's what they did.
That was, again, that was just amazing at how hard that team, they really wanted to make the postseason. Everybody's bonuses are structured around the postseason, I think, in that league. At least it makes sense to me that it is. And good heavens, they played hard. I don't like the 49ers, never have, but, man, you got to tip your cap to their fan base. You got to tip your cap to the fact that they just own the Rams. They play them twice a year, and it just seems like for the last 3 years, they have won every time they played the Rams. So the 49ers wanted to get in the playoffs. They wanted to be there, and they showed us last night, and I don't know what the story is with the Rams. They've gone all – see, here's the problem with the Rams. They've gone all in by literally sacrificing draft picks to bring in free agents and to bring in big-time players, and they have them. But last night, listen, if the Cardinals don't lose at home to the Seahawks, they give the Seahawks credit because they were going nowhere, but they went ahead and won a game that they didn't have to win, but they wanted to win for no real apparent reason other than that they're just professionals. If the Cardinals beat the Seahawks at home, and because the Rams lose, they could have won the division last night. And the Rams lost the game but still won the division. But the 49ers had to win that game. And just yesterday's games, it just felt like it just felt like everybody was trying as hard as they could. The Jaguars yesterday played the best game they've played in 5 years yesterday, QB. The way they dominated the Colts, and I don't know what to say about the Colts because they had everything in front of them and just couldn't score on Jacksonville, dude. And so I'm going to put my Jaguar hat back on now. And so it was just tremendous. The 49ers, the Jags, the Steelers, even though the Steelers are just not that good. I think they're going to get killed by Kansas City next week, QB. But everybody –
the Steelers are not a very good team.
No, but everybody played hard. And tonight we get – the final game in college football between Alabama and Georgia. You're going to see these kids – play their minds out tonight, and that'll be it. Before you know it, we're going to really be on playoff football and basketball.
We'll get to the championship game here in just a second. I got a couple of Facebook Lives brought to you by Melon Law. John says, did Brandon Staley calling the timeout cost them the game? It sure looked like the Raiders were content with a tie. Do you think the Raiders were going to just go with a tie there, JC? What do you think? Well,
it would have been easy for them. If they wanted to really stick it to the Pittsburgh Steelers, because let's face it, the Steelers and Raiders have, a history, they could have easily done it. All they had to do was just do a hand signal across the field, and the Chargers and Raiders would be in the playoffs. And they didn't do that. They tried to get the first down. They ran it. They kicked it. They ended it. And a tie was so realistic. A tie could have easily happened last night. It was, in fact, I thought it was going to happen. I thought they were going to tie. And it was just unbelievable, that game last night in Vegas. So I guess the old Oakland Raiders really have died because they don't like the Pittsburgh Steelers and vice versa. Al Davis was probably thinking, let's just stick it to the Steelers. But it doesn't matter because you know what? The Steelers aren't going to beat Kansas City. Now, the Chargers would have, I think, had a better chance to beat Buffalo than the team that's going there to play Buffalo. But I couldn't believe that game last night.
You don't think the Patriots can beat Buffalo? You were all on the Patriots a couple of weeks ago.
Well, no, I think they could because, they have before, but
they ain't beating Buffalo. I can tell you that right now. You brought up a point a few minutes ago about here's what's so great about the playoffs in professional sports.
Yeah,
is you make a lot more money every round you go. You make more money. Now to the 5 or 7 players on the roster that are making millions of dollars, it's not that big a deal. But you got to remember, about 30 of those 53, or maybe more than that, probably about 35 of those 53 men are making like minimum salary, which again is a lot of money. But they're getting bigger paychecks now that they're going into the playoff rounds. And, you know, there were a lot of guys hit a bunch of incentives yesterday. I thought it was hilarious. I was flipping through the channels. Gronkowski needed X amount of catches, and they kept feeding him the ball he made $1 million yesterday because he got like 6 catches. I think one of the Jaguar receivers needed 4 catches for $500,000. They got him to him, and it made me remember when I was with the Bears, JC. I can't remember if it was one of my receivers, Marty Booker or Curtis Conway, needed like 6 catches. Back then, it was like $150,000. You know, it wasn't a huge bonus like it is now. First series, we threw him like 3 straight wide receiver screens just to make sure he got close to him, and obviously he got his incentive. And I actually hit an incentive one time, JC.
You did?
You may not know this story. So when I signed with the Buffalo Bills, like the last preseason game, because Bledsoe got dinged up, they didn't give me a signing bonus, but they said, you know what, we'll give you, if you throw a touchdown in the regular season, we'll give you $50,000. Okay, well, Bledsoe started. Bledsoe never got hurt. But we were in the playoff hunt. So the last game of the season at Candlestick Park against the San Francisco 49ers, Mike Mularkey was the head coach. We were ahead. And at halftime, he says, you know, you're probably going to play late in the third, probably the fourth quarter, just to get a little – you haven't played since preseason in case something happens to Bledsoe in the playoffs. So I get in there. The 49ers just blitzing the hell out of us.
Oh, I mean, they're just – yeah.
They are murdering it. We're trying to just run the clock out. I said, to hell with it. I checked off to Lee Evans, threw a 52, 62-yard go route to him, and got my $50,000. And Bledsoe knew about it. He met me out on midfield, gave me a high five. But that was an incentive I hit. Wasn't a whole lot, but I'm sure the front office wasn't real happy about it.
What a great story.
It is what it is.
QB, I actually think I remember you talking about that once on the golf course with me. And Lee Evans, he was a good player. Damn.
That's a very good player.
Yeah, he was. I'd say that's so. But that was in San Francisco. So let me think. You got $50,000, which means you had to give a certain amount to San Francisco. You had to give a certain amount to California. You had to give a certain amount to Uncle Sam. You had to give some to Uncle Sam.
Had to give some to New York.
Yeah, just think though, if you had done that in Miami, that would have saved you some money. But it doesn't matter. You did it, and darn good for you. And Lee Evans, God bless. I mean, that's awesome. What a great story.
Yeah. Lauren says, how did I like living in Buffalo? Well, Lauren, I was never one of those guys that lived in my football city. I was only in my football city for 4 months out of the year. Buffalo was cool because it's a small town. Orchard Park's where we lived. Cold as hell, tons of snow. Never seen so much snow in my life.
What was worse? What was colder? Was it Buffalo or Chicago colder? What was colder?
Buffalo by far.
Really? Okay.
Clearly. I've never seen so much snow in my life. John says, speaking of QB backups, is there a bigger drop-off in QB1 and QB2 than in Green Bay? The fans better beg A-Rod. Look, Alex Rodriguez, I will go to my grave, is the most talented quarterback to ever play the game. It is ridiculous.
Who the hell is Alex Rodriguez? Who is Alex Rodriguez?
Alex Rodriguez is the guy that wears number 12 for the Green Bay Packers, better known as Aaron Rodgers. But he goes by A-Rod too. So, did I say Alex Rodriguez?
You said it twice. That's okay. A-Rod is A-Rod. Alex Rodriguez. Oh dear God. I understand, QB. Listen, it's okay. It's it's early morning. I don't know how I'm going to stay up tonight. Honest to God. I mean, I was up late last night watching that damn Raiders game because I had reasons to. And tonight is just going to be. I'm so glad though. I got to be honest. I'm so glad I'm not in Indianapolis where it's 18 degrees and you can't do anything outdoors. I really think this is the last time they're going to probably do something up in the north for these college games. I mean, the fans are dead. I mean, they can't go anywhere. It's so cold. And the roads are terrible. It's just, I don't know. What's the point? I guess they were trying to, get up there and give the Big Ten world something to get excited about. And they came close to having Michigan and or Cincinnati show up, within driving distance of that place where it would have been, off the chain with those fan bases. But now you got two SEC teams playing in Big Ten country, and it's the ticket prices are showing the amount of local interest, honestly. So,
turn your car or truck into a rolling billboard for your business or brand with an eye-catching vehicle route from Route Spot this January. Mention promo code Shane, receive 13% off your vehicle route. Speaking with JC on the Titan MR hotline, we'll switch gears now. And yes, the championship game is tonight, which I still haven't figured out why they don't play this thing on Saturday. Speaking of the playoffs, I'm switching back to NFL now because I was thinking about the game being tonight on Monday night. Why they're playing a Monday night playoff game makes absolutely no sense to me. Because whoever wins that game, they're not going to have as much time to prepare for their next game. That makes no sense to me.
It doesn't. And the Rams are playing Arizona on Monday night next week. I don't know. I mean, it's these TV networks. They get to tell you when you're playing. Saturday or is it Sunday?
But why not have 3 games Saturday, 3 games Sunday?
Right. No, I 100% agree. It does. I'm not sure why. I don't know. I don't know why college football chooses to have its most important games on New Year's Eve and then 5 games on Saturday. I don't know why we're stuck with Monday night football being on Saturday night in pros and Monday night and Saturday football being on Monday night in college. I mean, this is just this is what these people think. We had Monday Night Football because Steve Levy and whoever else was doing it. We had Monday Night Football actually it was Herb Street and Fowler. We had Monday Night Football on Saturday with Herb Street and Fowler, and we got Saturday football that should be on Saturday being played tonight. At 8 o'clock at night, for God's sakes. I mean, every kid in Alabama is going to have a hard time going to school tomorrow. And same with every kid in Georgia. They're all going to have a hard time going to school tomorrow because mom and dad are going to let these kids watch these games because these kids follow these schools. They love them. So it's
they may not have school tomorrow for all we know for the schools in Alabama and Georgia. I'm sure there'll be a lot of people calling sick. If you've got joint pain in your knees, shoulders, hip, or back that won't go away, you need to check out QC Kinetics for long-lasting relief. No surgery, drugs, or downtime. Schedule your free consultation at QC Kinetics. Give them a call, 352-400-4550. Got a couple texts on the Titan MR text line, JC. I'm going to pull them up right now. If I can get the phone working here. It comes from... All right, here we go. It comes from Kevin. Kevin says, I'm pretty sure it's because of TV and the NFL using Saturdays for wild card and final games of the season. But is there any other reason the national championship, just like the Super Bowl, is not held on a Saturday? I have no idea, Kevin. That's what we were just referring to. The Super Bowl is on a Sunday, actually. But, yeah, I don't know why they didn't play the national championship game Saturday night. Would have been made a whole lot more sense, but sometimes they don't make a whole lot of sense. Text from Daryl says, good morning, guys. JC, cheer loud for the Tide tonight. There isn't a Gator bone in my body that would want Georgia to win anything. Thanks, Daryl.
Good stuff, Daryl.
Speaking of that game, we could sit here and break it down and what have you. JC and I both picked Georgia to win game 1. JC, I think you're picking Alabama to win game 2.
Well, I mean,
I'm picking Georgia to win tonight.
I totally get why you would take Georgia. I totally get why anybody would take Georgia, and it's fine. I mean, that is a very, very good football team. It is going to be very hard for a football team to beat somebody like that twice in a month. It's hard for them to beat them once, and yet they were able to do it. I really think, and I mean, I might be overstating this. I could be. I think there's a huge advantage where Georgia's defense will adjust, and not having John Mechie, I think, will absolutely be shown to hurt Alabama tonight. I think it will hurt. Now, Alabama in the past has played in games where they've been not favored to win. 1992 was a game I'll never forget where they played the Miami Hurricanes, and they were a big underdog, and so all they did was run between the tackles, and they murdered Miami, and they played great defense. That could happen again tonight. But I don't think you can run on this Georgia defense. This front seven that Georgia has is as good as it's going to be. They've got basically 4, 5, or 6 guys that are all going to be drafted in the first 2 rounds, I think, in the NFL draft, playing defense up front. And if they can make adjustments and keep Alabama's wide receivers in front of them and not behind them, where Bryce Young won't be able to just pick them off one by one, then maybe, Georgia will win tonight. But I think Alabama's one of those teams where basically when you back them up against the wall, they seem to play their best. And they've been able to show that if you beat them, you better score a lot of points. So to me, even though Georgia's defense is getting a lot of the attention, I think Georgia's going to have to score quite a few points to win this game in spite of how great their defense is. So
how many points? What was the score of the first game?
41-24. It was the same score that we had when Georgia played Alabama in Tuscaloosa last year. It was 41-24 there too. So Georgia has to score to win this football game tonight. I don't think you're going to see, and I could be completely wrong about this, but history will show that when you beat Alabama, you better score a lot of points. The only game that Alabama probably should have lost and the other team didn't score a lot of points was just this recent Auburn game. Outside of that, you have to score a lot of points to beat Alabama.
Yeah, I've already given my breakdown of why I think Georgia's going to win is because I think they're going to learn. They're going to learn from what Cincinnati did that caused the offensive line serious fit in the passing game, and it wasn't the same passing game because John Mechie obviously is a huge part of it, and they just did not look comfortable. And I know they didn't have to throw the ball against Cincy to win, but when they did throw it, they did not look comfortable. So that's why I think Georgia's going to win. I saw this tweet. I thought it was a very interesting tweet. I'm going to read right here. Everybody always talks about, if Georgia's not going to win this year, will they ever win? Talking about Kirby Smart, basically. Think of this. Kirby's 46 years old.
Yeah.
When Nick Saban was 46 years old, he was 28-16 and 0-3 in bowl games. Think about that.
Mm-hmm.
As a coach, he was 28-16, 0-3 in bowl games. Saban didn't win his first title until he was 52 years old. So Kirby's 46 and coaching in his second national championship game.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't understand why people want to bash him. I think he's a heck of a football coach, and Georgia ain't going nowhere. That's the problem. They're going to be around for a long time.
I mean, ask an honest Georgia fan, would they rather have Mark Richt back? I mean, I think an honest Georgia fan is very happy with what they have. And, it's not Kirby Smart's fault that there was a busted coverage on 2nd and 26, I don't think. Yeah, maybe he's made some decisions that are questionable, like a fake punt in the middle of the field. But listen, the guy's trying to win a football game. And sometimes when you decide as a coach to do something a little bit crazy in other people's minds, it doesn't work out. But what if it had? What if Justin Fields had run for 30 yards on that fake punt and they had beaten Alabama that night in a totally separate game than what I'm even talking about? So Alabama and Georgia have a lot of history. Georgia hasn't beaten them in 7 tries, and Kirby's 0-4 against Nick. I think the pressure is on Georgia. I think that will come into play. But if they get a lead early, if Alabama has to play from behind, Georgia's in a great spot. But if Georgia falls behind early and Alabama plays from a leader, from being in the lead, you could see a whole different story. But I think Georgia's key will be to get out fast, get a lead, and try to keep Alabama from getting out in front early. And if that happens, then Georgia's in great shape. But if they fall behind, if it's 14-6 or 7, and Alabama's got a lead, Georgia's going to start thinking like, God, how can we beat these guys? And trends and streaks, this QB, trends have a lot to do with it. You beat Georgia 4 years in a row, dude. You don't think that didn't matter when they played you? That, oh, God, here we go again with Spurrier and that Matthews and that damn Gator. See, we can't beat them. And sometimes these kids, I haven't played, but I think it does make a difference sometimes. So we'll see. I mean, Alabama's going to come up. They're going to show up. So we'll see if both
teams are going to show up. John says here on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mellon Law, I don't think Georgia lets Jamison Williams beat them. They take him away. They will bring extra pressure, even though Kirby doesn't like to. Someone else for Alabama has to step up, like Billingsley or Brooks. Yeah, see, that's the thing is what surprised me the most in that game one was how the big plays in the passing game. They allowed, I want to say, a deep ball to Jamison Williams, and then he caught a crosser That was, I don't know if it was busted coverage or what, but then he took it to the house. I think if they can eliminate those big plays, and now with Mechie being out, I think that's what will allow them to win. Chris says the offensive line was the narrative last time they played, and Bama's O-line didn't allow a sack. That's my point, because but Bama's O-line struggled in pass protection against Cincinnati, and I think Kirby and them will see what caused them problems, and will try. Not saying it's going to work, but they will try. Joseph says John Mechie saved Bama last time against the Gators when he drilled Trey Dean and caused the fumble after we intercepted. Yeah, I remember that.
You know, that's very true. I almost brought that up, but I do recall that interception. I mean, Joseph is dead on. That could have changed that first half, and that maybe even that game. Mechie's a great player. I mean, he's a superb player, and not having him will. But look, you know, Georgia doesn't have Pickens either. It hasn't had him all year long. And
well, he's going to play. He's going to play.
Well, he will, but
I think he played in their bowl game.
Mechie did not play in the second half of the last game between Alabama and Georgia, and Alabama still had their way offensively. So, look, who knows who's going to play great tonight? Jake Fromm made some of the best passes I've ever seen a college quarterback make when he played against Alabama. Still didn't win, and he can't get a first down playing offense for the New York Giants in the NFL. But, boy, he made some great passes. So it's going to require certain players to do certain special things to win this game on both sides of the football. These are two of the best teams college football's got, and they are definitely the two best teams in my mind in college football today at this moment. So we're getting the game between the two best, and that's all you really want out of a season is having, you know, I think the two best playing, and there's no Cinderella story here. This is it. These are the two. And, you know, people that don't like the SEC, tough luck. That's the way it works again.
Lauren asked here on Facebook Live, great question, brought to you by Metal Law. Shane, could the 3-3 exotic pressures that Cincinnati used affect Georgia's back end? It could, but I think they don't. I don't think they changed their coverages. I just think basically it was just a bunch of twists and games that they ran against Alabama. And like I said, Alabama has the same tape, so it's not like Doug Marrone and the Alabama offensive line, they're not going to be prepared for that. It's just you got to think that the outside backers, the DNs for Georgia, if they do implement some of those twists and games and stunts, they got to be a little bit better than the Cincinnati guys. So we'll see. That's what I'm anxious to see. And if Georgia just keeps the ball in front of them and makes them drive the length of the field, not the big plays, I think it'd be a different game. So we'll see. There was another Facebook Live here, JP, that I wanted to read. Oh, here it is. Matt says, rank our coaching staff. Well, I don't think we have everybody in place yet. There's still a couple spots to be filled. And to be quite honest, hell, I don't know. I think Billy Napier's done a tremendous job putting his entire army of folks together. I mean, we got 1 million folks going to be working now. It's a slow process, but here's the thing, folks. The checkbook is open, the same blueprint that the two teams that are playing tonight, okay? And it's going to take time, and hopefully we can get to where these two teams playing tonight are. That's all I can say.
Yeah, I mean, we have been treated to some great football games here recently. I think tonight has the capability of really being good or really being a snoozer. And when I say a snoozer, what I mean is Alabama being ineffective offensively. And they have had games this year where they haven't done well offensively. The second half of Texas A&M was one of the best periods of football they played. The last drive against Auburn. But they can't do that against Georgia. You cannot fall behind against a team like this, or else they will absolutely behead you. And so Alabama is down 10-0 in the first game, but immediately scored the following drive. And had they not, Georgia would have won that first game. So to me, it is imperative that Alabama get out to a fast start tonight. And if they do, and Georgia starts doubting themselves again, then Alabama has a great chance to repeat as back-to-back champions. And I'll tell you this, that team last year that Alabama put on the field would be able to score on this great Georgia defense, just like the team did this year. So it's
I think last year's team a little bit better than this year's team.
No doubt about it. But when you rank great defenses and great offenses, you know, that team Alabama had last year, the team that LSU had in 2019, I think good offenses will beat good defenses usually. But when you have a team like Georgia, if they get a lead, that defense is good enough to just go ahead and close the game out. So, I mean, we'll see. Look what they did to Michigan. That game was such a mismatch. It just looked like two different teams playing on two different levels of football. And the question was, could Georgia do that coming off that big upsetting loss in the SEC championship game? And the answer was a resounding hell yeah, they can, because they're that good. And so many people gave up on Georgia after that SEC championship game thinking that Michigan was going to hang around them. But they were 7.5-point favorites in that game, QB. So people knew that Georgia was capable, and they are. But if they don't beat Alabama tonight, man, all the pressure's on Georgia as far as I'm concerned. All of it is. They have to respond tonight.
So here's the narrative. If Alabama wins tonight, what is going to be the national not excuse, but what is the blame going to be for the Georgia Bulldogs? I already know what it's going to be.
Oh, they're going to talk about the quarterback. Well, they're going to talk about the quarterback, right?
Okay. So the reason I bring that up, because I'm a huge Stetson Bennett fan, and I've argued with people that just because they've had these 5-stars sitting in their quarterback room does not mean they're better players than Stetson Bennett. And if you know football, and a lot of my friends know football, they will take Stetson Bennett over those guys. And people are like, well, Kirby had Justin Fields. Look, Justin Fields did not fit the scheme that Georgia likes to run, and Justin Fields was a very good quarterback at Ohio State. Guess what, folks? Justin Fields lost to the Alabama Crimson Tide. So the bottom line is there ain't many quarterbacks that have beaten Alabama. Zach Calzada. Would you rather have Zach Calzada or Stetson Bennett? I'll take my chances with Stetson Bennett. But my point is, I get so pissed off at these people. If Stetson Bennett was 6'2", 6'3", people would love him because he's 5'10" and was a walk-on. They don't think he can play. How many 5-star quarterbacks that have been 5-star quarterbacks at different colleges that I like to say can't play dead in a Western? There's a million of them. There's a million of them. And so the national people have no idea about quarterback play is my point. None. All they worry about is arm strength and size. There are so many. I mean, Justin Fields, nothing against the kid. He is not going to last in the National Football League very long. He can't throw.
The game, I think, is too fast for him. His decision-making is questionable, and I know he's a rookie and all that. But I agree with you, QB. But I think this, too. I think if you beat Alabama, usually the common thread has been your quarterback has had the game of his life. When Calzada won that game with A&M this year, he never played a game that good for the rest of the season. He's now transferred and going to Auburn. So the reason why he's transferring and going to Auburn is because Jimbo's already told him that he's not going to be the starter next year. And here you have a kid that won a game, playing the game of his life, and beat Alabama for the first time in 10 years. That school beat Alabama because of one reason, the quarterback position. If the quarterback plays out of his mind, you have a chance to beat Alabama. Now, Auburn almost did it without a quarterback that played out of his mind, but that's a different scenario because it's Auburn, Alabama. Anything goes there. But usually when you look at the 6 losses Alabama's had since 2016, and when you look at all the losses they've had this decade, it's always usually because the quarterback plays out of his mind. So people doubt Stetson Bennett's ability to beat Alabama because he's 0-2. But I wouldn't do that tonight because I think the kid is capable of winning this football game, even though he hasn't done it yet. And I think that's why you're getting all the pushback. But you're right. I mean, the guy, look, the pushback was I told these people, I was like, okay, give me a list of the quarterbacks that have beaten Alabama. I don't want to keep blaming the damn quarterback. Look, he's the best player there. I don't care how many 5-stars they have sitting in that room. Just because they're big and strong and have a good arm does not mean they can play quarterback. And Stetson Bennett does things that you cannot teach. Well, Monken has said that's their offensive coordinator. And I believe when he says, listen, we can win the national championship with this kid. It didn't say we can beat Alabama, but it does include beating Alabama in this case. And he still believes it. I mean, he wouldn't say it if he didn't believe it. We can win the national championship with Stetson Bennett playing quarterback. And they didn't lose, folks. They did not lose that first game because of Stetson Bennett. They lost.
No, not at all. They lost because the defense couldn't stop them.
Correct, but you know how people are, QB. They're going to blame somebody or something. If Georgia loses tonight, it's all going to come down on Kirby. The pressure's on Kirby. It's all going to be about Kirby.
Look, and I get it, but here's what I like to tell people. I would have no problem, whether it's Kirby Smart or whoever coach it is of my team, to have me in 2 national title games in the last 3 or 4 years.
Yeah,
I'll take my chances. Eventually, we're going to win one of them.
And not only that, but I mean, my God, look at the recruiting this guy does. I mean, look at what Georgia's able to do, off the field, getting players. And it really, I mean, it showed against Michigan in that game. You could see the difference in just personnel. Why? You could see it. Now, Georgia's got a lot of older players, experienced veteran players. But my goodness, if you didn't see just how much better they were than Michigan, you didn't watch that game. And that would have happened against anybody in the country. It would have happened against Ohio State. It would have happened against anybody. The only team Georgia has trouble with is the one they're playing tonight. And that doesn't mean they're not going to win. It just means that they are tremendous in every aspect. And that starts from the head coach and goes down, if you ask me. So Georgia is in great shape. Don't worry about Georgia. Win or lose tonight, Georgia's still in great shape. I mean, it's incredible how good they can be with their players.
Yep. We got a couple before we let you go here. A couple Facebook Lives brought to you by Melton Law. Back to first, I want to bring up congratulations to Gene Chizik. If you missed it, he's going to be the defensive coordinator going back to North Carolina. Work for Mac Brown.
Great.
Network, where he does a tremendous job.
Really good player. Really good coach. Great coach, defensive coach.
He was. Andy said on. What's that?
No, I was just saying. Folks forget when Texas won the national championship. You know who their defensive coordinator was? It was Gene Chizik. Yeah, and that's why he got the job at Auburn. And he knows defense as good as any. I was really hoping Saban would hire him when they hired Pete Golding. Instead, I was hoping they'd get Chizik because that guy knows what he's doing defensively. He's great.
Yeah. Andy says on Facebook Live, brought to you by Melton, Chris Rump should be available today to hire defensive line coach. Rick said it's not going to happen. I'm not sure what's going to happen. I still have heard that he's going to be coming here, so we shall see. John says Josh Allen only had a JUCO offer, had to beg Wyoming to give him a chance after that. However, Josh Allen is 6'5". Yeah. I mean, my point being, there are so many 5-star quarterbacks or 4-star quarterbacks that look great at these combines because they have the measure. They're 6'4", 6'5". They have great arms, good in shorts.
Yeah.
Folks, that don't win you no games. And that's why those 5-stars that are sitting in the Georgia quarterback room playing because they look good in shorts, but when the bullets start flying, they can't play. And that's what people don't understand. They think just because a kid is a 5-star quarterback that he can play. Now, there's some that are. The Trevor Lawrences of the world, the Bryce Youngs. I mean, you look at Bryce Young. Here's the great thing about tonight's game, JC. Any little quarterbacks out there that have dreams of playing football, tonight's your night. You've got one that's about 5'9", and the other one's about 5'9.5".
Yeah. No, they're little guys, but, man, they can sling a football. And they can run. They're smart. And it does help to have great players around you. There's absolutely no question about that. But at some point, you still got to do it, right? And Bennett has done it for 2 years now at Georgia. And Bryce Young will have another year after this to stay and do it again at Alabama and has done everything Alabama
can. JC, what happens, though, if they win tonight? Raleigh offers him $5 million to go to USC. How mad are you going to be?
You know what? No, honest God, you asked me this on Friday, and I'm still saying this is the truth because I've asked other fans that I know and other alumni at Alabama how they would feel, and we all would have said, good luck to you, young man. Thank you for all you've done. I mean, you can't blame somebody.
Oh, bull crap.
No, dude, come on. You're not going to blame a kid for taking that kind of money and doing something else with his life. I mean,
but you're not going to be happy about it. You're not going to be happy about it. That if
QB, certainly I want the guy to stay and play at Alabama his final year, which will be next year, or he's got actually 2 years left after this. But he's not eligible to be drafted because of the NFL's rules until after next season. Listen, if he wins tonight, what are you going to do? You're gonna curse Bryce Young for winning a national championship just because he decided to set himself up financially? I don't think you can do that. I don't think people will do that. Maybe some irrational people might do that, but if the guy gets what he gets, I just think we're in a world today, QB, where people will say, "Sure, get what you can get. It's your deal." I mean, people have to do what's best for them, right? That's where we live. I think that's the case, but I don't think it's going to happen. I think he's going to finish his second year starting at Alabama next season. I think he'll stay at Alabama. He's going anywhere. They'll pay him at Alabama.
Yeah, I know they will. John says on Facebook Live, QB will not matter for Georgia next year when they have Caleb Williams. That's true. Now, he's a 5-star that can play. He's an elite thrower. All right, JC, I need you got to go home. You got to get a nap in. You got to hydrate. You got to do a lot of stuff to prepare for the game tonight. I wish you luck, but I don't think y'all are going to win tonight. I think the Dogs are going to do it. So it's okay, though. Your Rams lost yesterday, and the Tide's going to lose tonight. Just it's going to be okay, though, JC. It'll be okay.
All right. I'll survive. Don't worry about old JC. Right. He'll be okay.
That's JC. Join us on the Titan More Hotline. We come back. Take a few more of your comments here on Facebook Live and your text on the Titan More text line. You're watching and listening to Pot Up with Matthews in the Morning.
We want to take this moment to thank all our sponsors who keep the show going and pay the bills. Crime Prevention Security Systems, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Titan MRI, Gainesville's only locally owned and operated MRI facility. Meldon Law, won't back down. Peachland Dental, Gator Nation's first choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte. Comfort Temp, comfort is our business, peace of mind is our promise. QC Kinetics, live pain-free with QC Kinetics. Great Clips, it's gonna be great. Our Gridiron sponsors are Auto ER, UF Bookstores, Celebration Point Town Center, South State Bank, Chris Doring Mortgage, Silverback Concrete Co. Some of our touchdown sponsors are Campus USA Credit Union, Adams Rib Company, Doreen Wiebe Realtor, Caldwell Banker, MM Parish, Gator Dominoes, Celebrate Primary Care, Gator Bait Media, Wrap Spot, Okito America, Gators Dockside, Style Cuts, Big Mills Cheesesteaks. If you are interested in promoting your business on the show, visit potupwithshane.com and click the advertise button. Again, thank you to all the great businesses that support the show. If you like what we are doing here, make sure you follow us and support the businesses that support us.
Welcome back to the Crime Prevention Security System Studios. Celebration Points, where the Gators go to celebrate with premium brands like Nike, Regal Cinemas, Le Macaron, Dave & Buster's, Medici's, Palmetto Moon, and HBC's Restaurant Spurs Gridiron Grill, now serving brunch on Saturday and Sundays. We'll see you at Celebration Point, where the Gators go to celebrate. I want to thank JC for joining us on the Titan MR Hotline. I think JC's going to have a rough night. I don't know why. I just think Georgia's going to play their best game of the year tonight. John says if Saban wins tonight, he will have won back-to-back titles twice. That is insane to think about. Yeah, no doubt about it. Also, some news if you missed it. Deion Sanders at Jackson State picked up another 4-star wide receiver, kid named they got Travis Hunter. This is a wide receiver named Coleman. I don't know what Kevin Coleman. I'm not sure where he's from. Not sure why he went there, quite honestly. Unless it's some grade related, and I it is what it is. But yeah, Chiswick, congratulations to Chiswick for going to back into coaching. I mean, coaches, man, they got that itch. They just can't. That's what you do. You got to coach. And there was rumors that Chiswick was going to coach the Birmingham team in the USFL, but obviously he took this. He's going to have to go recruit. North Carolina didn't play very good defense. Vince says Nick Evers is donating his NIL money. I saw that. I don't know what kind of money he's getting. It's probably more some stuff. I think it's to some charity that he's donating it to. So it'll be interesting. We got a text here on the Titan MR text line from George, and it's talking about the dynasties. And if you expand the playoffs, will there be more parity? Well, if you look at the playoffs at the FCS level, which I don't know if it's 12 or 16 there, but listen to your national champions at the FCS level. 2012, North Dakota State. 2013, North Dakota State. 2014, North Dakota State. 2015, North Dakota State. 2016, North Dakota State. Basically, they've won 9 out of the last 11 years. And it's interesting how they just dominate FCS. Obviously Alabama's been dominating the FBS for a long time. But a lot of the Southeastern schools have been winning all the national titles. But in the FCS, man, you would think some of these Southeastern schools would be able to bring in some talent to compete against them. But boy, the FCS is just dominated by the Bison, North Dakota State. Tommy says Florida women's basketball had a great win yesterday. Yep, I talked about it at the beginning of the show. And they came from 19 down, first time they've ever won in College Station. John says Kevin Coleman was being recruited by FSU and Miami hard. Yeah, I don't know what's going on there at Jackson State. Like I told you, I've known some of the other kids that have gone there have had academic issues. I don't know about this kid or not, but congratulations to Jackson State. It's just hard for me to believe that these kids want to go there over a major Power 5 school where you have a chance to win something. But times have changed. There's no question about that. If you missed it yesterday, the NFL, boy, a lot of good stuff happened. Crazy, crazy, crazy. One of the craziest days I can ever remember in the National Football League. And I don't know if it had anything to do with Week 17 or Week 18, adding that extra game or not. But boys, it was fun to watch. Usually Sundays are boring, but yesterday was very, very entertaining for sure. I was hoping a lot of people here would give their prediction tonight, who they think is going to win. I know everybody's on the Alabama train, and most Gator fans want Alabama to win. I think Georgia's the better football team from top to bottom. Doesn't mean they're going to win tonight. I just think they're the better football team. I think they get it done tonight, but we shall see. Should be very entertaining. It's all going to come down to the Georgia defense, in my opinion. Can they play up to their standard and not how they played in week one? I mean, in game one. John says Jackson State doesn't even go to the FCS playoffs. They go to a bowl where the SWAC and the MEAC play. Yeah, that was at the Georgia Dome, and Jackson State got blown out by South Carolina State this year. So, yeah, it makes no sense to me. Lauren predicts Bama 31-21 here on Facebook Live, brought to you by Meldon Law. Daniel says Charger Raiders game, what a finish. Yeah, it was outstanding. I was asleep, but I saw it all this morning. Brad thinks UGA wins, unfortunately. Yeah, I think they do too. What's it been, 40-something years since they won a title? And we'll see. It should be very, very interesting. I don't know why the game's got to start so late, but it is what it is. If you want to shoot us a text, get your thoughts on Gator basketball. They sit at 0-2 in conference play right now, staring at 0-3. LSU's coming to town. It's a must-win game for Gators. LSU took it to the Tennessee Vols Saturday night. I thought we played extremely well against Auburn. Auburn's just better than we are. I don't know how else to put it. Andy says on Facebook Live he's got Georgia 35-31. Lauren tells John here they have to be ranked to go to the playoffs. SWAC champion has gone to the playoffs before. Okay. Appreciate that. Alan says on Facebook Live, brought to you by Meldon Law, Georgia is the better athletic team, but as a Gator, it's hard to root for Georgia. They're tired of the Roll Tide domination. Yeah, it's kind of a no-win situation for us, if you think about it. Tired of Alabama. Definitely don't want Georgia to win. But we'll see. We'll see. We're going to take our second time out of the program, come back, get a few more questions and comments, and wrap up today's program. You're watching and listening to Pod Up with Matthews in the Morning.
We want to take this moment to thank all our sponsors who keep the show going and pay the bills. Crime Prevention Security Systems, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Titan MRI, Gainesville's only locally owned and operated MRI facility. Meldon Law, won't back down. Peachland Dental, Gator Nation's first choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte. Comfort Temp, Comfort is our business, peace of mind is our promise. QC Kinetics. Live pain-free with QC Kinetics. Great Clips. It's gonna be great. Our Gridiron sponsors are Auto ER, UF Bookstores, Celebration Point Town Center, South State Bank, Chris Doring Mortgage, Silverback Concrete Co. Some of our touchdown sponsors are MB Listing, McDonald's of Gainesville, My IT Masters, Gainesville Neon and Signs, 84 Lumber, Tropical Smoothie Cafe, Avera and Smith, Dowling Signs, Baker's Sporting Goods, Ruse Ogra Agent, State Farm Insurance, Silver Cube Billiards and Sports Bar. If you are interested in promoting your business on the show, visit potupwithshane.com and click the Advertise button. Again, thank you to all the great businesses that support the show. If you like what we are doing here, make sure you follow us and support the businesses that support us.
Hi, Steve Spurrier here. You know, making a reservation at my restaurant is easier than a Saturday afternoon homecoming game against Vandy. You don't have to call or email. Just go to spurriers.com, hit the reservation button, pick a date, number of guests, and a time. It's so simple, I can do it. In fact, I just did. Maybe I'll see you tonight.
Welcome back to the Crime Prevention Security System Studios, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. At South State Bank, we understand that small businesses need a community business partner they can rely on. South State has 4 convenient Alachua County locations. South State Bank, banking forward, member FDIC. Appreciate all the folks tuning in here, on your comments here on Facebook Live and your texts on the Titan MR text line. John says, I thought it was odd that Jackson State went to the bowl game as champs and FAMU went to the FCS playoffs. I didn't follow that closely. Marcus says, I have faith in Georgia's ability to find a way to choke. Yeah, we'll see. This Thing is Sports brought to you by our good friends at Comfort Temp. Comfort Temp's now hiring team members of all levels of experience, $1,000 signing bonus for qualified positions. Give Comfort Temp a call, 352-376-2366. This Day in Sports, 1996. Jimmy Johnson was announced as the new head football coach of the Miami Dolphins. That's brought to you by our good friends at Comfort Temp. Well, tonight's the ending of college football. I'm on record predicting the Georgia Bulldogs to win their first national title since 1980. So we shall see. I guess I'll predict a score. I'll go 31-28 Dogs. I'm going to go 31-27 Dogs. Daniel, there's your score. I just gave it out. 31-27 Dogs. I think Georgia is going to get after them. Defensively, I think Bryce Young, I just can't get out of my mind how uncomfortable he looked against Cincinnati throwing the football with the pressure they put on him. But Alabama's got good players. They got good coaches. They probably made some adjustments as well. But anyway, today's show's a wrap, brought to you by Wrap Spot. We'll be here tomorrow with Buddy Martin. We'll break it all down, folks. Enjoy the game tonight. We'll see you later.
1st and 10. Matthews, near side, wide open, Alonzo Sullivan. He may go. Touchdown, Gators.